Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Golia. I'm an actor, singer, and creator here in Los Angeles, and I'm so excited to introduce you to radio host Nicole Sandler. How's it going, Nicole?
Oh, going okay. Hanging in there.
Awesome. Yes, I know you're in Florida. We were just talking about how warm it is there. You're quite
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah, it's the one good thing about being here. Frankly, this state is getting crazier by the minute. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. We have a nutcase of a governor. So
Oh my God.
I may be looking for an escape route soon.
Come over this way. It's a little bit warmer here.
But it's more expensive there. That's the problem.
It is.
I
Trust
lived there for 15 years. I should have never left. I had a great house in Culver City that I never should have sold.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Sandler.
Yeah.
Well, did you grow up out here in California?
No. I grew up in New York, and then down here. We moved down here when I was 11. I went
Wow.
to after college. I moved back to New York, did radio in New York for 5 or 6 years, and then moved out to LA, and I was there for 15 years.
Amazing. And then you went back to Florida.
And then, yeah, it kind of took a long way around, but I moved back here. My daughter was starting kindergarten. My father had just died. And so we came here, long story, but yeah, we wound up back here. Not my smartest move.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get interested in radio? Like, what was your path? How did you find yourself here?
Well, I went to college, University of South Florida, and I was not interested in becoming a lawyer or a doctor or getting an MBA. I liked music. And so I studied broadcasting. I majored in broadcasting and broadcast programming and production, and I worked at the campus radio station throughout college. And I've been in radio ever since. I'm the one weird person who actually, I work in the field that I majored in college.
That is weird. I mean, definitely. I love that. I mean, I studied music and I sing, but still, it's rare. It's very
Right.
rare.
It is where.
So can you tell us what kind of radio shows you host?
Well, these days, for the last a dozen years or so, I've been doing talk radio. I actually started in talk radio out of college. Well, in college, I did adventurous music radio. But after college, my first few jobs were producing talk radio. I went to school in Tampa, the University of South Florida, and my first job was there at a news talk station. And about, I don't know, shortly after I graduated, I went up to New York. I brought my resume, I pounded the pavement, and I got an offer as a weekend producer at WMCA, a talk station in the city, to be a part-time producer for $8 an hour. Now, this was some years ago because I've been around for a while. And my dad said, do it. If you don't do it, you'll always regret it. I will help you for as long as you need it. I was very lucky. So I did, moved up there. Within a month, I was already promoted. The funny thing is, I wound up producing the Bob Grant show, and Bob Grant was like the forerunner to today's right-wing crazy wingnut talk, right-wing hate talk radio is what I call it. But I learned a lot from him. From there, I moved over to WPLJ, which was a big music station, to produce the morning show there. The host was Jim Kerr, who's still doing mornings in New York. He has since been inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. Then I met a guy who lived in LA. Wrong reason to move across the country, but it got me out to Los Angeles, where I produced some big, I produced the Mark and Brian show for 4 years, bringing us to #1. And then while that was going on, a station was launching that was my kind of music. It's a very eclectic format known as AAA, Adult Album Alternative. And I somehow got in on the ground floor and was part of the staff when we launched station FM 101.9, known as KSCA. And I did all different day parts there, and I wound up as music director. And it went from there. So I spent 15 years in LA radio.
Oh my gosh, you've been all over the place.
Right. And then after leaving LA, well, I went to Boston. I programmed a cool station there. When I came back down to Florida, though, it was around 2004 or so. And Air America Radio had just launched, and they had a station in South Florida. And long story short, I eventually wound up over there producing a morning show that I then took over as host. And then when Clear Channel flipped that station to sports, because South Florida really needed a fourth sports talk station instead of one progressive talk station, I moved over to Air America Radio on the network and hosted a nightly program there until they went under. Yeah. And now that was 11 years ago. It was January of 2010. Whoa. And that very night when the network went dark, I moved online. I've been doing a show online ever since.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, that's amazing and that you kept it going.
Yeah. Well, this is what I do. And you know what? The radio landscape has changed so much throughout the course of my career. And I've been doing it for a long time. But there's no resemblance to the business that I got into all those years ago. And now, you know, we're all independent contractors. Very rarely is somebody now hired by a radio station to do a show. In most cases, and I hate to say this, it kills me to say it, people pay to be on the air. It's brokered time. It's a different world. Different world. So I work for myself. I have my own home studio and I've got the freedom to do what I want. My show is on the Progressive Voices Network and I stream on the internet and I'm on YouTube and I do whatever I want to do, except I can't play music on YouTube because I get copyright violated.
Oh my gosh. Right.
They need to come up with a simplified way of licensing so that somebody who does a show online I'd happily pay to use a song that I want to play. Yesterday, for example, you know, Putin launched war in Ukraine and I played Edwin Starr's War to start my show, hoping, and I was right, that they wouldn't copyright violate me. What they do is they do something called a content match where they'll say, oh, you played a song that we own the rights to. So we're going to take any revenue that you earn from your program on YouTube that day. And that'll be the payment. So fine. But I would rather have the option to say, let me pay you $25 and play the song on this one show. But that doesn't exist yet. It's still the Wild West when it comes to streaming and music and all that.
Oh, yeah. And I know. It's wow. Gosh, that's all so fascinating. Your journey has been amazing.
Yeah.
But it was like nice for you for the pandemic, right? If not much had to change. Like you could keep doing your show, keep doing everything. You're one
exactly
of the
because
in art that didn't affect.
I've been working from my home studio this whole time. So, you know, the difference was that I never left the house. So, you know, I'm a lung cancer survivor. So I've been very careful about COVID because I have one lung. So if I got COVID, my doctor said I'm not more susceptible to catch it, but if I get it and it hits my lungs, it would be bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you're in Florida. Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, do you have any advice out there for people who are looking to get into radio or just starting the journey?
Radio is, I hate to say it, radio is a dying breed. I mean, it will always be there because it's in cars, right? But I mean, do you listen to over-the-air radio?
Sometimes when I'm in my car.
Maybe, right. If you don't have your iPod or you don't have Sirius XM working or something, right? Yeah.
But I do listen to like radio, like podcasts.
Right.
You know.
Podcasts.
Technically, right? But
because I'm old school and come from the old radio world, I do a live show every day. I stream it live. But then it's available as a podcast. So people listen in all different ways. Some people listen live through like the Progressive Voices Network. Some people watch it live because I stream to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. But then the video is available after the fact and the podcast is there. So if you subscribe to the podcast, I upload it after the show and then you get it wherever, whenever you want it.
Right. So podcasts are a big growing industry.
Yep. And but the problem with it is it's hard to break through. You know, I've been doing it for so long. So I have a good base audience. But if you're not with one of the big podcast groups who promotes each other, and I'm not, it's hard to get traction.
Have heard that. Yeah. I mean, I listen to the big ones. I'm like This American Life, you know, that's what I listen to. But, you know, referral is big. I ask for people's referrals all the time. So I think that that is like the way, but I hear you. It's crazy out there.
It's hard. It's really hard. But it's the new gig economy. I mean, people are working for themselves. So I do the show and I'm different. Again, I'm old school. So my show is not behind a paywall. I don't charge people to listen or watch or anything, but I do survive on their donations. I don't run commercials, although I would. I'm not against it, but I'm a one-woman show. I do everything. I don't have a producer. I'm my own producer. I do it all. So, and I'm not a salesperson. I hate selling. So people donate, sometimes, monthly, regular donations. Sometimes it's one-shot deals. And during the pandemic, I took up painting. So now I do pet portraits.
Yes, I saw that behind you. I love it.
So you never know. It's now I do a little bit of everything.
Yes. Well, you are fascinating and wonderful. And I'm so glad that we got to talk. I've learned so much from you. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm just so excited that you're going to be on the Phoenix platform. It'll be yet another way for people to find what you do, find your podcast, find your show. Maybe you can put your paintings up there too. It's a one-stop shop for everything Nicole Sandler. And
cool.
Yes. So I can't wait to see what's next for you and see what's going. And thanks for meeting up with me today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great one.
You too.